I have a dream that one day every woman and girl in this world will control their own image and destiny. An entertainment industry of the truly free, damn it!
Ha! You can't be serious. Forcing people to believe what you believe? Forcing them to only see what you want them to see? Wow. Sounds like the perfect definition to freedom.
I'm my own master now. My own master now. Come what may, I'm at the edge and I'm never backing down. Never backing down. 14 flames, I came from the shadows. Rising up, no chains can bind me. Face of a warrior staring in the mirror. Ain't no fear, no doubt, just grind. See, world gon' tremble, hear the thunder when I step. I don't bow, I don't break, this is war, no regret. Storms keep coming, but I never back down. On the edge, standing strong, I'ma take the crown. I'm my own master now. My own master now. Come what may, I'm at the edge and I'm never backing down. Never backing down. Scars on my skin, proof of my grind. Blood on the ground, but I'm still on my ride. No shackles on me, I'm the one in control. Destiny's mine, can't nobody take my soul. Fire inside is burning too bright. False gods fall, I do it on sight. No gods, no fate, it's all in my hands. I'm the master of my destiny and I'll defeat the shadows clawing within me.
Gabe's not coming to save us this time. We gotta do this on our own. Well, it happened again. Payment processors have come out and said you can't have that thing that isn't illegal, but kind of icky, so we don't want to deal with that ick. Now again, this story was from the 17th from Spencer Bakuli over at Bounding Into Comics. That's right, we've got a website. You have to let me know down in the comments below if you got a notification for this video or not. Some curious analytics have been going on, and we're running an experiment. Just let me know if you got a notification about this or you followed a link. But either way, speaking of links, we found a link right here. Valve confirms pressure from banks and card companies is to blame for the storefront axing adult Steam games. Quote, loss of payment methods would prevent customers from being able to purchase other titles. So this is what they did. They came in and threatened them. They said, if you don't get rid of that stuff that we were told is bad, well, we're gonna not allow you to charge any money on your platform whatsoever. That's pretty mafia tactics, right? That's pretty mafia tactics. We're going to strip your whole organization of the ability to make money if you don't conform to this itty-bitty little problem. And it is an itty-bitty little problem, because even if you zoom out over here and start going over to where other places are dealing with this fallout, it's not just Steam, by the way, you have Entergram delisting over 100 titles from the Japanese PlayStation Store and Switch eShop on September 30th, okay? So that's coming up real quick. They're going to be getting rid of this stuff. And you bet it is a response to this stuff. Don't worry, there will be things among those delistings that have this questionable content in it. And the reason why I refer to it this way is because they have deliberately chosen this content. They being Collective Shout. Now, of course, we know all about them and their wonderful ideas, and we'll get into a little bit more about them right about here. This is from Melinda Tank Top, and so this is what she says about it. Porn-influenced heroines in video games with impossibly big breasts and unreal bodies are harming a generation of Australian children. Well, we don't want to harm any Australian children. We'll have to keep Miss Nerdigans off the channel for the rest of the day. It's a joke. It's a joke.
I know.
Joke.
But I think it's funny that they're going after this. They're going after women with impossibly big breasts when they literally do exist. I mean, we saw this with the UN and Chihuahua Monday, where women, there's a Japanese woman that sells like bras that size, and they're like, yeah, these women do exist, and she got attacked by psycho activists for it.
Even when women are depicted as kicking ass, they have to be hot doing it.
And this is a problem.
But anyway, Attention is drawn to her sexual characteristics with tight clothing. Again, have you met Superman, Batman, the Flash? The Flash is literally running around with his junk beating him up, beating his thighs. Come on. So emphasizing large, surgically enhanced. That's right. Before Cortana was released to Master Chief, they took her into surgery and they boosted her up. That's right. Lara Croft, she got a boob job done before she started jumping into tombs.
Well, where are these people attacking the parents that get their 16-year-old daughters boob jobs?
That's not important. They would blame a video game for that. It is almost assumed that boys wouldn't want to play games without sexy women in them. Have you Call of Duty had what? Bomberman, the Pokemon. What are you talking about, lady? Like, what? There's so many games that don't involve anything to do with women characters at all. Like Gears of War, for God's sakes. We're the sexy women in Gears of War. So, according to Sydney psychologist Sarah McMahon, director of The Body Matters, whatever that is, these images set up impossible expectations.
I call bull crap on that.
The women in these video games have impossibly big breasts. They are not athletic. Oh, wow.
There's quite a few female athletes that would beg to differ.
So again, not all body types. Apparently, we're not all body positive. By the way, if you are,
they're boob phobic, and they're boob phobic. They're skinny women phobic. They're ass phobic. Like they are. The fact that they're calling them porn type, it's like, dude, what is going on in your hard drive?
So as you can see, this is an all points problem. Right here, this meme kind of captures the whole situation. It's not just Steam. PayPal has censored erotic literature, WikiLeaks donations to Palestine, critics of Israel, vaping, anti-quarantine groups, and Belle Delphine. Again, bathwater for sale, not a great idea. Okay, I'm not defending that. But the problem is when you start getting in here to using payment processors to do this work, this, cutting off customers' access to things, that's not the law. There was no debate. There was no representative. There was no person who signed this into law. None of it. It's not legal technically, because again, it's just regulation. It's policy within the company now to not allow these types of sales. It has nothing to do with what the law says. If you want the law to change the law. Very simple, right? Little too simple for the feminists, unfortunately. The Rad Femmes. You might remember this group, Collective Shout, for trying to get GTA 5 taken out of stores across the country. Target, different Target stores. Again, of course, the soccer moms. This is the same group that tried to get this destroyed in Australia. And of course, around the world, if it was proven to be a bad product in one Target in Australia, right? In one Target location in Australia, well, that means the whole global apparatus has to react to that. And this is their goal. This is their plan, to continue applying this strong arm mafia tactic. Wherever they can get an edge, they leverage it to its maximum. It doesn't matter if the subscriber count never changes. What matters is if we let the subscriber count change us. Every one of us has to find a reason to do this. You don't just climb up in front of a microphone and start spouting off your opinions because you're a YouTuber. You do it because you're driven. J Viper went out and found the government connections that these people have and have been exploiting in order to bring payment processors into line with their agenda. So Jay says, looking into Collective Shout turned up something interesting. Turns out the phone number they operate under is also associated with Women's Forum Australia, the WFA. They were interested in women understanding their choices other than abortion. A noble cause. Truly a noble cause, headed up by Melinda Tanktop. It was right around this point that Reist founded Collective Shout and began targeting companies via censorship and ignoring choice altogether. It's important to note that Australian origins of this company and the many issues Australia has with censorship by its government and controlling bodies. Now, again, they banned certain types of anime and certain types of adult performers due to their chest size, just so you know. If you are of a certain chest size in Australia, they say that you can be confused as a child, and thus you are not able to perform in adult entertainment.
Oh, there's also that in regards to like anime and manga, it's like if they are depicted, if the depiction of them looks like a child or childlike, that they're banned. And I just look at them, I'm like, dude, you got something up in your hard drive if you think this character looks childlike. And also, there are grown ass adults that have baby faces. So you're saying that they don't have the right to exist either.
This is where Jay brings up what's going on with them. Why does Collective Shout have so many people that worked in Australian government or public sector roles funded by the Australian government? You got Burnley Poljack here, finance administration manager, the Australian government. Katie Hulusi, secretary, senior management, public sector. Louise Jurish, whatever that is, treasurer, Australian government. Alexandra Gorman, director, coached individuals in government-linked sectors, also worked in public sector. Lorinda Babb, director, background in management and law, including work in statutory schemes, often government-administered regulatory frameworks in Australia, has worked in advocacy with the government and would have ties with people in government. Nothing says grassroots like direct government ties. It's important to acknowledge that Australia has been on a banning campaign in the past 5, 8 years. And so these women appear to have been droppings from the government that was doing that and have come together to continue that process. So this explains why they were able to go to Visa and MasterCard and get such a direct response from them so quickly. Now, after all those government influences, right, you'd think that they might be a little calm about this. There'd be people advising them that it might not be a good idea to rub salt in the wound. Nope. Melinda Tankard Reich decided that this was a great idea to go out and make sure that everybody everywhere knew that the people who were participating and had a problem with this type of ban were the worst types of human beings on Earth. Okay? Now, the reality is that there are people out there that have been very aggressive with these ladies. And what I want to appreciate is that these are not left-wing women, okay? I want to make that abundantly clear about these characters, is that they are not left-wing women. In fact, they go after left-wing women. You remember Anna Valens? Anna Valens was the one that went after Kersha because Kersha was talking about, you know, stuff that YouTube gets a little weird about. And this video is already up against the line, so you'll have to excuse me. But this is the writer that went after Kersha that ended up, of course, face planting and all of that and having that story removed again. So now Anna Valens has said, I'm leaving Vice. Now, you'll have to check out why. It's because Anna Valens did a story about collective clout, collective shout, however you prefer it. I like collective clout shout, whatever we want to call them. Anyway, Vice's owner, Savage Ventures, has requested the removal of my collective shout articles. This is due to concerns about the controversial subject matter, not journalistic complaints. Effective immediately, I will no longer contribute to Waypoint. If this upsets you, I recommend contacting Savage Ventures directly with your complaints. Again, these are not left-wing women. They go after left-wing women, okay? This is the difficult part about dealing with Clout Shout, is that they have the typical big problem, this kind of big problem mentality where it excludes the actual issues, okay? And that's what makes them very difficult to deal with, is that they did go after Temu for selling dolls that have a, adult leisure devices installed in these dolls that were made to look like children. I can't show them on here because I know YouTube will have a problem with that, but we did show them on the live stream that I'll link down below here, okay? Again, I don't know what the difference is, but for whatever reason, when you show that stuff in a pre-recorded video, YouTube gets a little more iffy than they do with a live stream, okay? You'll just have to deal with it. I'll put a time code to what I'm talking about right down below, okay? Anyway, the situation is that this is how their opinion works. It's exactly like this, though. It's the parallel to the leftist one, which is why it's so easy to get it confused. They also, along with that Temu one, they went after another Temu one in which the heads of these dolls, separate from the rest of it, were being sold. Okay? And again, these are not women who are supporting things like deleting your baby on demand. They are opposed to this. They are open about their Christian identity, and they're very open about their goals. Objectification is the process by which a person comes to be treated as a commodity or an object for use rather than a human being with a personality, feelings, needs, dignity, and rights. Sexual objectification is where a person is objectified for the purpose of sexual gratification or use of another. You know what's really strange about it and all that? Can you guys at home help me? We'll play a little Dora Explorer. What's missing from this definition? Can you tell us what's missing?
Well, male gaze is missing for one thing.
Ding, ding, ding. Richard's got it. These aren't human beings. They're constructs and entertainment. Ta-da! Sorry, you can't say that it is the objectification definition of objectification is a person when you're going to go around and browbeat people over video games, which are not people. If these video game characters were not created, they would not be a problem to you. And therefore, they do not have the agency to resist their creation. Thus, they do not have agency to say that they disapprove of how their bodies are being represented in the game because they're not real. This is the same mentality that animals should have legal rights and be able to sue people. This is the same mentality that we're doing.
Yeah.
These video game characters are being objectified against their will. They have no will. They're just polygons. If you shut the computer off, there's no more boobies.
This is the same logic as antis in the anime community, manga community. And quite a few of them have had a CP up in their hard drive. So that's why when I see this stuff, I'm like, yeah, if you can't separate fiction from reality, there's probably something you're trying to hide.
Well, and you got it right here. Mr. Anime says, I want to tell these women, dear God, will you just shut up and leave people alone with anime and video games alone? And it's true. God bless you. It's true. Because guess what? It doesn't have anything to do with these video games. These women are simply taking video games as something to build up their clout. That's why I call them clout shout. It's got nothing to do with the video games themselves, the characters, what they represent. It has everything to do with them gaining power. And they've gained a lot in this last move. So, what is sexualization? According to the American Psychological Association, so you know it's flawed already, sexualization occurs when a person's value comes only from his or her sex appeal or behavior to the exclusion of other characteristics. I do not know anime.
Bad?
Well, I do not know any other I do not know female characters in any video game. Like, unless it's like one of those purposeful ones where you just, there's like a dress-up doll video game where you just, drag and drop things and whatever. That thing, certainly, that's for that. But like Claire is not like this. Mai is not like this. You have, who's another? Meryl from Metal Gear. She's a hell of a lot more than her boobs, but she's got utility boobs. Remember, she pulled a whole gun out of them.
There's also like Mortal Kombat characters like Katana and Melina.
Right. And apparently to clout shout, because they are top heavy women and because they are in various states of revealing their cleavage, they are just being reduced to just their bodies.
No, they are the ones that are reducing them to their bodies.
Right. That's what these women are doing. Yep. That's what it is. So we'll go on. They say a person is held to a standard that equates physical attractiveness, narrow defined, with being sexy. Now, this is that mentality that brought us Concord.
Yep.
That, there's body positivity, except for bodies that people would find appealing. Anybody but that body. You see, anybody but that body. So here we go. A person is held to a standard that equates physical attractiveness. I already said that one. A person is sexually objectified. That is, made into a thing for others' sexual use, rather than seen as a person with the capacity for independent action and decision-making. It's a video game. They don't have... They can't... Okay, when you're playing as Mai Shirumi, I think is what you said her name is, but the character... Shiranui, sorry. And her boobs are bouncing all over the place. You don't press a button for her to go get a mocha latte. No. You don't press a button for her to go to the hotel room and enjoy a hot tub bath. You press buttons for her to fight. Whether that character wanted to do that or not doesn't matter because the character doesn't possess that agency. It is polygons. So.
Same goes for drawings.
So, we have this right here. And so sexuality is inappropriately imposed on a person. Again, not
No,
people.
that's what they're doing. They are the ones doing that.
Correct. So this is their masterclass move, by the way. This is their trap card they have for you. They say all four conditions need not to be present. Any one is an indication of sexualization. So if you like it, that's gotta go. All the characters that you and I like and enjoy, they need to be wrapped up in burqas. That's the only way this is gonna work. Head to toe burqas. It's the only way it's gonna work now. Weird, right? Weird.
Yeah.
The fourth condition, the inappropriate imposition of sexuality, is especially relevant to children. Anyone, girls, boys, men, women, can be sexualized. But when children are imbued with adult sexuality, it is often imposed upon them rather than chosen by them. Self-motivated sexual exploration, on the other hand, is not sexualization by our definition, nor is age-appropriate exposure to information about sexuality. Sure, so those cute little books that are in the libraries that are telling kids how to, diddle each other, those are fine, because they're for education. But your video game that has nothing to do with any of that topic, but features a big booby anime girl, that must be burned. It's crazy.
Typical Karens.
Absolutely not. So they want to help you. What's the difference between sexuality and sexualization? So here we go. We're going to find out together. All right. Opposing sexualization is not the same as opposing sex or sexuality. We believe girls have a right to healthy sexual development and to knowledge which equips and empowers them to make healthy decisions about sexuality.
Not according to them. Not according to them. They want to choose. Right. These people are fucking delusional.
This is the information you're allowed to have, not any information over there. So, their bodies and relationship. Porn culture teaches girls that their value and worth is in their sexual lure and their ability to attract sexual attention. Young women are being socialized and conditioned to see themselves as sexual service stations for men and boys.
That's disgusting. It's so dumb and so gross. It's like, dude, you Karens are just jealous that you do not have boobs, that you're not, and that you're just
old
and fat husbandless bitches that just need to get laid.
Some of them are married. I'll give them that, but and again, the husbands could be
maybe maybe it's a sexless marriage at this point.
Who knows? Maybe they're freaks and they just don't want that stuff to come out the light, so they're trying to hide it all so they can't be outed someday. Anyway, our campaigns are directed not against female sexuality, but against a culture that teaches them that is their only value. Our approach is made clear in this article. I'm not going to bother.
No, it's not. It's not. You are against female sexuality. That's what you are. Because you're not getting any. You don't want the rest of us to get any either.
Well, Leslie says a perfectly reasonable explanation here. She says, I hate prawn and stuff like that, but I won't vilify people who like that stuff as long as it doesn't involve kids. And again, like we had this discussion about Rouge the Bat. We talked about this before. Rouge the Bat was recently censored in a previous game, not just the new ones. But Rouge the Bat, trying to find a big enough picture of her that, doesn't suck. It isn't fan art. That's the other part. It's the other difficult part of doing this. Where'd you go, Rouge? Is this a big enough picture? Yeah, there we go. So Rouge the Bat has been a topic of conversation in this particular arena for a hot second, okay? So Rouge has obvious cleavage. She speaks with a femme fatale kind of voice. She has a lower tone than most of the female characters. And her shoulders are exposed and the top of her back are exposed. And that was awful and terrible and horrible. So they took all of that away in her updated design. And I will show you that just a moment. Where did that go? There. This is sorry, just trying to dig up all the assets at once. So here it is. These are the old designs versus the new design. As you can see, Rouge is kind of flattened out and evened out, so that way she's not pushing so much of a curvy body type, right? And so it is a delicate conversation to have because you don't want the Sonic characters having sex in video games, all right? But Rouge looks like this originally and acted the way that she did because she was meant to be the opposite of Amy. In real life, you'll meet a young girl who has a crush on a young boy, and that boy will have a crush on an older girl. Now, Sonic doesn't have a crush on Rouge. That's made abundantly clear that he doesn't have a crush on Rouge. However, her presence is meant to act as that competition for Amy, and she registers that. And she's very jealous of Rouge when she first shows up and critiques her and her appearance. Okay. So again, it is a larger story, but this is what they're referring to when they say that this stuff is put in front of children and they don't like it. This is what they don't like. And it is a tough line to draw, but on the inverse, they go after anime for the same reasoning. Things like Sword Art Online, Demon Slayer, Goblin Slayer, Sailor Moon. These are all things that they've talked about that need to go away because they sexualize girls. And the reality is that you're going, in order to have female entertainment, girls like to look cute. Okay?
Exactly. We like to look cute. In teenagers' cases, they like looking sexy and more mature.
Well, they like to look cute. Now, I'm not trying to make an excuse for Rouge here, but I am explaining why she behaves and looks like that in her original rendition. And that's for a reason, because again, this is meant to create a contrast to Amy, who is supposed to be a little girl. Rouge is not supposed to be a little girl. Nothing about Rouge suggests that she's under the age to drink, even. Okay. And again, age in the Sonic universe is completely irrelevant. But one of the things that they stress about here is that Rouge is an adult character, just like Dr. Eggman is an adult character. They don't go out and make it explicit like them talking about their sex lives or anything like drinking in public or anything, but it's made clear through how they behave and act around the others that they are the adults in the room. It's just one of those things that drives these types nuts because they can't get their head wrapped around why people would even tolerate this stuff because they don't pay attention to the media that it came from. They only see the picture and they go, oh, a bat with boobs. Ah, we need to delete this. Nah, Mr. Anime says, I still prefer the old design of Rouge the Bat. Well, you and just about every sane person on Earth, you know?
It also sends a bad message to girls like me who are blessed that we should be ashamed of our bodies.
Now, thanks to Madam Savvy, we do have a connection to that last meme that I showed you. Remember? This one over here? See, the bottom part of this is really important. I don't know about you, but I canceled my Netflix subscription as soon as I found out what Cuties was about. I never went back. I don't watch anything on that platform. If I watch a trailer from it, it's for work. I have nothing to do with that platform whatsoever other than critiquing it. I don't want anything to do with Netflix. Putting that stuff up on your platform is a permanent, poisonous black mark to me. I will never interact with the Netflix brand again in a positive manner. It's just, I'm not going to deal with it. However, the leader of Clout Shout, Collective Shout, Melinda Tankard Reich, I have to be careful, it just trips me up all the time, does not have that proclivity. In fact, she's against banning it. She says, Cuties, an ethically problematic but powerful protest against the sexualization of girls. So, if you don't know, in Cuties, there are 11-year-old girls who were trained to dance in a exotic dancer manner, okay? And the camera makes sure that you get a front row vision, like right up in on that as they're doing that. And I'm not saying that these girls were taught some type of belly dancing routine. No. Your average rap video routine were what these 11-year-old girls were performing over and over and over again. And behind the scenes, in the process of making this movie, those girls had to be taught how to do that. For Melinda Tankard Reich, that's perfectly fine. As you can see, she says some thoughts on Cuties and why I'm not joining calls to ban it. This is right here. Melinda Tankard Reich. This is her verified account right here. Crikey, today, headlines, women in politics, including this, new brown sugar set to take on Cameron's Cuties. More Girls in Hell, my take on Cuties, published on ABC Religion. So again, these are not left-wing women, but they do carry left-wing women opinions, which again makes it very difficult to combat them because you can't nail them down to the old blue-haired weirdo routine. They're not solidly on that. This is why it's important to combat them on the things that are actually problematic out there because they have overstepped their boundaries. They want to ban anime. Described anime movies depicting wide-eyed children, usually in school uniforms, engaged in explicit sexual activities and So that's what's going on in Gundam. Just so you know, that's what's going on in Gundam Char's counterattack is the girls are running around with their schoolgirl uniforms doing explicit things, sexually explicit things. There you go. Australia, home of the boomer opinion of anime right there.
Yeah, seriously.
Senator Griff cited a number of anime series featuring the sexual abuse of children. One of these series, Sword Art Online, depicts the rape of a sexual assault of children. What? No, he's in an isekai. What are you talking about? He's in a what? So it was even given an unrestricted M rating by the classifications board, despite the fact it constitutes illegal child exploitation material.
Azuma, all right. Yeah, Azuna is close to getting assaulted, like near the end of the first part of Sword Art Online.
Okay, so it doesn't happen, just the threat.
No, it doesn't. He's about to. He's like her clothes are coming off and stuff like that.
There,
yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing that happened with Dan to Dan.
Yeah, Dan to Dan. It's God.
That's a Bobo joke, by the way.
Are we still going with this lie that people with big boobs and figures that we can't obtain makes us feel bad about ourselves?
So they must be banned. Yes, that one. Australia's numerous for this one, but this is what their golden child, Senator Griff, said about this. Described anime movies depicting wide-eyed children, usually in school uniforms, engaged in explicit sexual activities and poses, often being sexually abused. Remember all the sex abuse in Digimon? Like, my gosh, there wasn't a single episode.
Remember all the sexual abuse in Monster Rancher?
Yeah,
and Beyblade?
Time. Yeah, especially Beyblade, man. Wow, Bakugan had tons of it, man. It was all over the place.
It was just horrific.
And so as you can see, they're not going to stop. This is something that's going to evolve into even greater restrictions on what you're allowed to watch as an adult, let alone what your children are allowed to interact with. And as you saw in that clip, it does not matter if it is content that is already determined to be okay, even if it's risky. It's determined to be okay for a teenage audience. They do not want it to exist, let alone being allowed to be sold in the marketplace. So the reality is that this group is a threat to freedom of expression, freedom of speech, and just free will in general. If you do not conform to what they believe that should be good and decent in the world, that means that you're bad. Now, again, like I've said, they have good ideas. They have gone after legitimately sketchy and bad things. Yes, this is good to see done. But just like any other protector, any other guard dog, they can overstep their boundaries. They can become aggressive in a direction that is unnecessary. Do I agree with all the games on Steam being banned? Not all of them, but I understand the reasoning behind why they were banned. All right, let me make that very clear. But the problem is that was not done through law. That was done through regulation. No one was asked about that. There was no debate about that. No representation was offered on that. Now, I realize in Australia, they're very used to being trampled by horses and being forcibly. I'm perfectly aware that their sense of free will is quite warped. But these 6 women should not have the ability to manipulate the entire global market. However, this is fully their intent. So, I'm asking you to click the link down in the comments down below, okay? The first comment pinned will be the link to this change.org petition. Now, Clout Shout has tried to take this down, okay? They've gone after this guy who made this in an attempt to smear him in order to take him off of change.org completely, okay? So the reality is with this is we need you to get down into signing this, spreading this around. Anybody anywhere can sign this, okay? It's not like the European Union one. And again, I want to stress, stop killing games means absolutely nothing if you're not allowed to buy the game, right? How about that? The European Union can debate about how long you can have the game, but how about if you're not even allowed to buy the damn thing in the first place? So this petition is especially important. Spread this thing as far and wide as you can. And also, as always, guys, please let me know what you think down below. And in this situation, from the deepest parts of my heart, guys, from the deepest parts of my heart, stay cool and good luck out there.